Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we are dealing with employment, unemployment and skill development in this unit. So in the earlier lecture we saw about the different causes of unemployment, what are the trends with respect to unemployment and stuff. In this video we'll be looking the challenges for creating employment opportunities, different policies in promoting the employment generation, and of course what does informal employment mean. So let's look into one by one. Challenges for creating employment opportunities. The growth of informal sector. See, when the economy is growing, many new jobs which are getting developed or occurring are informal in nature, which lacks security benefits or even the minimum age. Next one is poor skill levels, lack of formal vocal education, inadequate skill training capacity, negative perception towards skilling, like lack of skills even in professional courses like engineering are major causes for poor levels of India's workforce. Next one is volatile global market. India's labor force has been very much impacted these days due to the boom and bust cycle which occurs periodically in wealthy nations and made worse during the COVID crisis period. Next one is gender gap. Women's participation in the workforce has grown but has not grown up to the expected level, because of which many end up into the unpaid family work or even low paying self employment job instead of formal jobs. Next one is job automation. As with many countries, automation poses a threat to certain sectors in India, like in particularly in the manufacturing sector. To be honest, actually these can lead to job displacement in the industries. Next one is low purchasing power. Despite being one of the largest populous country, the domestic market of India is not suitable for manufacturing sector due to its low purchasing power. That is something which terribly damages the opportunity, or it's a challenge for creating employment opportunity. Now let's look into the different policies in promoting employment generation. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. We have saw that earlier few times. Like it's nothing but providing at least 100 days of guaranteed wage employment in a financial year to every rural household whose adult members volunteer to do unskilled manual work. Next one is PM Swanidhi scheme. See, it is nothing but Prime Minister Street Vendas Atmanirbhar Nidhi. Like it was provided collateral free working capital loan to street vendors in urban areas particularly to resume their businesses which were in particularly affected due to COVID crisis. Next one is PMEGP. Again, it was a majorly credit linked subsidy program aiming at self generation employment opportunities through establishment of micro enterprises in the non farm sector by helping the traditional artisans and unemployed youth. And finally, Make in India. Like it was launched with the objective of facilitating investment. Like it says, like bringing in investment and developing or fostering the innovation, building the best in class manufacturing infrastructure, making it easy to do business, and also enhancing the skill development. So hope you guys are clear with the challenges and different policies. Now let's look into what is informal employment. Say informal employment is nothing but working in the informal economy. Okay, like it's refers to unregistered business where employers do not offer social protection to employees, but it still contributes to over half of country's GDP. That is something the specific of specialty of informal labor. Now let us look into the importance. Key source of employment. See, in most of the developing countries, as you all know, the informal sector plays a very major role in developing the economic system, because the formal sector is not capable of providing that many jobs. So eventually the informal sector kicks in to provide those many jobs to the people uh, to survive. Next one is majority of the workforce. See, India is estimated at around 450 million informal workers, which comprises 90% of its total workforce, with around 5 to 10 million people adding annually. See, 450 million is not very small actually. It's so huge that, remember that when we bring that 450 million people into the formal sector, eventually the people pay more taxes, so eventually that's going to help in growth of the economy. Next one is the employment generation. See, according to data from Niti Aayog Strategy New India at 75, informal sector nearly employs 85% of the workforce, and also according to the labor force survey, over 90% Indian workers are informal workers, where workers in rural areas are more compared to urban areas. That is, informal labor workers are more in rural areas than in urban areas. That is true. Next one is rural development. See, very important factor of the development in rural area is the informal sector. Like, it accounts for 75% of the rural economy, and also includes low-end services like low-end services and agriculture, which is found particularly in rural areas. Now, what are the factors facilitating the informal employment? Education and skill gap. See, India in 1 year, we must note that it adds around 12 million people to its workforce every year. Remember, 12 million people, where only less than 4% have ever received any formal training. That is something we must worry about. Less than 4% have ever received any formal training. That is, out of 12 million people, less than 4%. See, but India's skills report of 2023 says that the employable talent has risen from 46.2% to 50.3%. That is good, but still that is not enough. Next one is economic inequality as one factor. See, economic disparity and the ongoing unemployment are long-term effects of this issue, like, which favors future of jobless growth. See, economy keeps on growing, but many people will still be jobless and will be facing unemployment. Next one is poor incentive structure. See, the small businesses are discouraged from growing, which prevents the formal workforce from going. Like, big MNCs companies, what they do is they try to disturb the small businesses which are developing up, which eventually discourages those businesses to grow. Next one is post-independence policy. Like, after independence in India, particularly, India chose a path of socialism, like state-led industrialization after gaining independence, because of which India was unable to accommodate the nation's enormous labor force, and is still paying for that. That is something, one important factor, which is the main reason. Next one is the issues faced by informal employment, labor related challenges. See, there are large number of workforce in the rural and urban areas, and the thing is, what are the problems? What are the challenges? See, those laborers have long working hours, but very low pay and difficult working conditions. They have low job security, low job satisfaction, but they cannot do. They have very high difficulty in exercising their own rights. Child and forced labor and discrimination are seen on the various factors. vulnerable, low paid, and undervalued jobs are seen in informal and labor related challenges. Next one is precarious employment. See, agricultural laborers and street vendors face seasonal unemployment and low wages due to a lack of regulation and bargaining power. See, because of which what happens is income inequality and increased poverty. See, we all know that, particularly in the tourism industry, only when it's season time, the tourism industry in that place rises up. Else, in during other times, they will be like there'll be not much of business in their place. So that's seasonal unemployment. So when they don't get enough opportunity, or due to lack of regulation and bargaining power, which might bring into income equality and also increase the poverty levels. Next one is occupational hazards like waste pickers, recyclers. They all face health risks due to poor working conditions and inadequate safety measures. We must also note that child labor is also prevalent in this sector. Occupational hazard like risky jobs like sewage cleaners. These are all something which again issues are faced in the informal employment. Institutional challenges. See, these informal workers do not lack proper legal protection and are vulnerable to harassment by authorities. Like, no one is there to question them. No one is there to question the bosses um, who appoint people in the informal sector. They are the boss. So yes, they can eventually harass them with low payment, cutting off their payment. So those things might happen in the informal employment. So because of which the economy is still in the standing level and needs to it those terms, that those informal employment must be slowly tried to brought into the formal employment, basing which might push for a better standard of living, increased growth of the economy and society as well. So yes guys, that's it for today's lectures. Hope you guys understood the lecture today. Do watch the video, comment your doubts, and share and subscribe the channel. We'll continue with this lecture with this unit next video. Thank you.